Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Okay guys, so today I'm going to be doing a few scary stories off of Instagram. I know I had to make a new Instagram and a lot of you are asking why, and let me tell you why. It was because before I even started doing TikTok, I did have an Instagram, but I never used it. So it had like old pictures and like weird stuff. So I had the bright idea of just doing like the Letty Loves You add-on to that one. But then I would try to like link my Letty Loves You account to my TikTok or like anywhere I wanted to, and it wouldn't register it just because it was an add-on. So it was annoying because I was already up to like over 1,000 followers and now I have like 100 in the new one. So if you're watching this and then have no idea I had to change my Instagram account, follow me here. Should I just awkwardly stand here? Okay, you got the point. Okay. So yeah, basically I don't want that other Instagram that I had before, the Letty Loves You, and I couldn't hold on to the Letty Loves You because I couldn't add it anywhere. So my only option was to create a whole new account, and I have to keep the old Letty Loves You open because I have over 100 messages. I mean, it could be over 200. I don't know because it just doesn't, like, it keeps going, loading. So I'm gonna have to leave it open until I read all those messages, which is gonna take a long time. So we're starting today. Beyonce in this bit. Okay, I need to stop getting distracted and just start reading stories. This is why some of you tell me I talk too much. No, I'm not going to tell you what popped in my head. It's interesting though. You want to hear this? Okay, I'll make it quick. Okay, so a long time ago, like maybe a year ago, I read an article that says that there are some people in this world who do not have a voice in their head. I have a voice in my head who talks back to me. We have full conversations. And some people don't have that voice in their head or can't see images when they're thinking about something. Some people had no idea that their majority of people in this world have a voice in their head where they think through or talk to yourself. They thought this was just like in the movies. They thought it was fake. So my question is, do you have a voice in your head? Or are you in that low percentage where you don't have a voice in your head? And the only reason why I'm asking this and why it popped in my head is because I be talking to myself all the time, which is why I get so distracted, because even though I'm talking to you here, there's a whole nother conversation going on up here. So let me know. Okay, I know that now I'm really overstepping and you guys are like, just start saying the stories, but when you're listening to music, like I have songs stuck in my head. Do you hear it in the artist's voice or do you hear it in your own voice? Because in my head, my brain, my internal voice is singing it in my voice. Just forget I said that. But also, just give me an answer. Comments, please. I'm gonna read them. All right, so now that I've told you guys that I sound like Snoop Dogg in my head, let's get started. And before you guys clock me, I know I have split ends. You don't have to make a comment on them, okay? Okay, guys, so now that I wasted your time, this first story is from Ava Jackson. Hey Letty, I know you get a crap ton of DMs, but I would like to share this story with you and spread awareness of the dangers of a Ouija board. Oh boy. My grandma told me this story when I was 12. One day, her and her friends decided to go to an abandoned house that had been empty for years. And when they got up to the bedroom, they decided to play with a Ouija board. They spoke with someone named Paul, who told them he lived in the house. He was a bad spirit and he had a disability regarding his legs. He also told them to look in the first floor closet near the living room where they found an old wheelchair and crutches. They were obviously freaked out, so they left and went home. My grandma says after that, every time she would fall asleep at night, she and her friends would hear Paul's breathing and his slow heartbeat. Still have chills to this day. I've made the mistake of playing with the Ouija board like 3 times. Did I ever say goodbye? Oh, I'm just kidding. Oh god, I'm scared now. Okay, bye. Okay, guys, so this next story is from Dalen. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hi, Lati. I don't know if you still do stories on Instagram, but I have a story. My grandma told me this, but when I was 1 of 3, I used to play with my mom and then look down the hallway terrified. Then I would run away to the room. One day, my grandma was looking at pictures of her mom, my great-grandma, and I said, "That's the girl that watches you and mommy when you sleep, and she sings me a lullaby, but then she gets scary." I never met my great-grandma. She passed 21 years ago, and my mom passed, and it's happening again with my baby brother. Oh no, that's so sad. I wonder why she's scary though, or did she just scare you because she's obviously a ghost? Okay guys, this next story is from Charlotte. Hey, I'd like to tell you a story. I was only 10 and I went out to get a drink of water. I looked in my lounge room and saw a figure standing right there with a box. It was very tall and long arms. I asked, "Dad, is that you?" And it ran away. My sister saw it too, and it still comes to visit. That's scary. Okay guys, this next story is from Paradise. Hi, I'm Paradise. I don't know if you're still doing this. Here's my horror story about my American doll. So, back in 2016, I got an American doll for Christmas, and my uncle sat on her hand, and it broke. When I put her on my bed when I was asleep in the morning, I would find her on the stairs. I asked my parents if they touched her. They said no. So me and my sister had thrown her away in the garbage. And when I came back in, she was on my bed. So I never played with her anymore. And last year, we were cleaning our room and found her with the arm. So we got scared and started to chop all her arms and legs and head off. Oh, because we're black and we wasn't finna play like that. Ever since we moved out the house, and I'm scared the spirit followed me to my new house. By the way, I love your videos. Thank you. But I'll tell you more stories, and it's about my new house. Oh, first of all, the arm broke and she still came back. And then you chopped her all the way off. I'm scared. I'm scared. But also, good for you, because now she knows not to mess with you. This next story is from Jada. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Duh. I feel dumb if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about. Wait, I'll play it right now. I hope Jada story, I hope you know I'm not making fun of you. It's just that the name reminds me of that Vine. Was it a Vine or was it a TikTok? I'm old. Hi. Okay, so this next story is from Jada Swanson. Okay, now I can finally fit the whole story. So when me and my brother were little, we had this store that would always be open in the morning. My parents had no idea why, but it would always open even though they've reassured it's been closed. So for a few weeks, it just kept being open. So my parents just thought it was me and my brother. They asked us a few times, I remember briefly, but it was never us. So the door had their weird lock thing where it is a hole and then you flip the latch and you put something in the hole so the door wouldn't open. One night, my mom put a butter knife in there so it will quit opening, and as she walked away, just for a second, the butter knife slid out of the hole and across the concrete floor. The door opens very slowly and then just closes again. Ooh, we got another story from Jada Swanson. I have another story, but if you see this, I would just be lucky if you did one. After my parents had put me and my older brother to bed, my mom went upstairs to go get ready for bed. My dad sits downstairs for a few more minutes and opens a drink, and he looks away from the TV just for a second. It is a silhouette of a young girl. He told this little girl just to go to bed because he thought it was me, and the silhouette just stood there staring at him. So once again, he just told this little girl to go to bed. She came down a few more steps and sat on the last step, just staring. My dad got up and walked around the couch to the steps and noticed that the silhouette was gone. To this day, he swore that it was our ghost, Jaja. The story of this house before we actually moved into it is that it burned down because the fire in the basement and 2 little girls were in the basement, but there is only one ghost. The parents survived, but the kids didn't. That's kind of sad, but kind of creepy for your dad. Whew. Okay, guys, so this next story is from Irene. Irina or Irene? I'm not sure, but wait, I think I have another story from you, but that comes towards the end. I think it's you. So it says, one time when I was around 10 or 11, I was taking a shower upstairs. The door was locked and closed. In the middle of my shower concert, the lock was moving. I was like, stop, Dad, because I thought it was him. No reply. So I put on a towel and looked around upstairs. No one was there. So I went downstairs and my mom and dad were outside in the middle of smoking. So I told them what happened and they didn't care. Oh, and the door was being held from the other side and it was hard to open. That's like the most, does anybody else like is in the shower like having a good little concert and then something pops in your head and you get all scared and try to like rush out of there? Like, imagine if something actually happened to you in the shower. Like, that's like my worst fear besides dolls. Annabelle. She escaped. No, she didn't, right? Right? It was a hoax. Right? Okay, guys, so this next story is from Sophia. I was in 4th grade and almost all the girls were playing Charlie Charlie, the spirit summoning game, where you ask yes or no questions. But the teacher told us we weren't allowed to play anymore and we'd been sent to the principal's if we did. And she made us stop playing before we said goodbye. And that was bad luck that night. I heard breathing in my room that wasn't mine, and then just as I was drifting off, a whisper says, yes, that's right, go to sleep. I was terrified and stayed up half the night, but eventually I went to sleep. For real, this went on for weeks, and my dad said sometimes when he checked on me, I was whispering or even talking as if I was having a conversation. The girls at my school were also hearing the same weird things and having strange dreams. We all secretly played the game one more time and said goodbye to him, and apologized to our teacher for interrupting, and finally it stopped. I think I remember when that was like a trend. How is that a trend? Heck no, that's not a trend that I would do. Okay guys, this next story is anonymous, so let's get started. One time when I was little, I always had a bad feeling in my room, but me and my sister shared it. Anyway, one night I was just turned around trying to fall asleep, and then I heard like almost footsteps on the wall. I was shocked in fear, and I finally grew the courage to look at the wall. I seen a lady with gray hair and a white dress. I started to yell for my mom. Well, that thing was just looking at my sister, laughing. I cried for my mom, and I was 4 at the time. One time, I overheard my mom telling her boyfriend that she'd been having dreams about a lady in a white dress and gray hair. I was shocked in fear. I finally had the courage to ask her about it, and she told me that my grandma sold her soul. No one knows what he gave up, but they said that the firstborn sons only get affected by it, and if so, that makes sense. Okay guys, so this next story is from Juan Rios. When I was around 7 or 8, I was taking a shower and I locked the door. And then I heard a little girl's voice, laughing. When I was done taking a shower, the door was unlocked and open. Mind you, my sister and brother were playing games in the living room. Now that me and my siblings are older, we get dreams of that house, and it's always dreams of that room and that closet. Okay guys, so this next story is from Natasha Namakot? That has to be right? Natasha Namakot. Okay, so I was thirsty, so I went out of bed and walked into the kitchen. I had the gut feeling that I shouldn't go back to bed, but I ignored it and left the kitchen and had the urge that someone else is in the room with me. But I was with my grandma. My grandma was sleeping, but I felt that we weren't alone in the room, but still ignored it. While I sat on the bed, I could feel a cold breath near my ankles and breathing sounds. I was scared, so I quickly put my leg up and went upside down to see under my bed. But the only thing I saw was the doll staring back at me. Before all of that, I was massaging my grandma and the doll suddenly fell off the bed without making a sound. So Granny told me to put it under my bed. And after that, I just stared back at the doll and there was a shadow. I quickly went up and cried. Till this day, I still sleep in the room with the doll. What? No, you don't know. No. And not only that happened one time, I watched a kid because their parents were in the other room talking, and she came up to me and said, "Why didn't mom and dad tell me I had a grandpa this whole time in the same room with me?" And I glanced back and cried inside because her grandpa died a week ago and she knew that already. Okay guys, this next story is from Isabel Chavez, 0201. Okay, so when I was 6, I stayed over at my aunt's house in Jalisco, and when I used the restroom, I remember a little boy, well, older boy at the time, with blood covering his whole face to the point where I couldn't see his face. He looked like he was burned. I saw him stuck to the big window on the roof. I freaked out and called my aunt. She took me back to the restroom and told me nobody was there. So then in the morning, my aunt asked me to explain what I saw, and I explained. She told my mom, and a couple of years ago, I found out she never had a window in the bathroom. And later, my grandma showed me a newspaper of when she was younger, and on the front page was a story about a boy who was burned alive, and it was the same boy I saw. So people wouldn't find him, they put him on the random person's roof, and the address was the same address as my aunt's house. Okay guys, so I remember this next story because it scared the crap out of me. Okay, so this next story is from Marcus. Hey Letty, how are you? I'm doing good, thanks. Okay, I have been following you on TikTok for a while and I love to watch your videos. Thank you. I thought it would be cool to share something that happened to me about a year ago. So I moved to my own house about a year and a half ago. I live alone, and one time my grandma came to stay with me for a couple of weeks before going back home. She usually wakes up earlier than me, and one day after I woke up and went to cook breakfast, she asked me why I woke her up early that day. I said, "No, I did not." She said, "Yes, I saw you." I'm sure I did not wake her up, so I asked her what exactly she saw. She said she saw a girl with long dark hair standing next to the door of her bedroom and said that she said something, but she didn't really understand. That was not me. I tried to convince myself that it was probably a dream and that my grandma was not fully conscious. Sorry, I hate that word because I can never pronounce it. Cautious? Conscience. That my grandma was not fully conscious when she said that, when she saw that. Ever since then, I have never seen anything weird in the house. We had a conversation after this, and I'm just like, I really hope maybe she was like half asleep and, you know, it was something else. Because I think Marcus said that nothing has happened after that. So I don't know. That's pretty creepy though. Like, oh, I can't. It reminds me of that scary story where like the dad or the mom goes into the room of the kid and the kid's all scared on top of the bed and he's like, "There's a monster under my bed." But then when the dad or mom looks under the bed, there's their kid down there saying, "That's not me up there." Ooh, I got chills. No, thank you. Okay guys, so this next story is from Ella McBride. I hope it's Ella or... Hi Letty, I follow you on TikTok and love listening to scary stories. I would like to share my experience. When I was younger, maybe around 11 or 12, I'm 14, I had pretty bad sleeping problems. I could not sleep by myself. I always had my little sister sleep with me. She's 3 years younger. One night, we were going to the bathroom and she was standing by the sink looking in the mirror. Our bathroom is at the end of the hallway, so if you look in the mirror, you can see the other end of the hallway. As I was getting up, my sister starts brutally screaming. She grabbed me and we both fell on the floor. For months, she wouldn't talk about it. She wouldn't go down the hallway either. After a while, she told us that she was looking in the mirror. She saw a bride. She was floating and her dress was all ripped up and bloody. I have seen this bride multiple times in our mirrors, and every time I see her, I get chills. I haven't told anyone that I've seen her too. The irony of it being a bride and your last name is McBride, though. What if there's something more to it? That's pretty scary, though, because I would not want to look in the mirror and see anything other than myself. And even then, when I see myself in the mirror and I give myself a little creepy face, that scares me too. Okay, guys, this next story is from Kiernan. I hope I'm saying that right. When I was 13 years old, we moved to a house in the country. It was already creepy and old, but one day at camp, my bunkmate told me that I lived in the house where a girl hung herself. After coming home, I asked my mom and she confirmed the girl from the camp story. A few weeks later, I was messing around in the barn when my foot fell through one of the floorboards and it hit something metal. I looked down there and found an old metal lunchbox, coloring books, and a girl's dress. My mom told me not to think about it too much and move on. Later that night, I couldn't fall asleep. I heard a low little hum from outside and I creeped over to my window to see what it was. There, in the middle of our yard, was a woman standing in a long white dress and her hair blowing in front of her face. I ran back to my bed, scared. The next morning, I looked into the girl that killed herself and she was wearing her mom's wedding dress. Wow, that's crazy. One of my scariest encounters. I have more from that house. What? Okay, guys, so this is the last story, and this is from Irina, which I did it. Yes, it was you. I did a story from you earlier too. I have another story. So I used to sleep with my closet door open, but never again. When I was 8, my sister was 3 at the time, and in the night, she started crying. So I woke up when my parents were trying to get her back to sleep. And I checked the time on my phone, and it was around 3:45 in the morning. So I looked at my closet, which was open, and saw a tall figure in the closet. They were around 7 feet tall. I got up, shut the closet door in fear, and I think my baby sister sensed it. When I read this, I was like, I sleep with my closet door open like every single night. This could possibly motivate me to close it, but like I'm so lazy to pick up my clothes that's right in front of the closet door in the basket. Whew. Now it's time to go and watch cartoons or Disney Plus so I can forget all of these stories and try to sleep peacefully at night. Okay guys, so that is all the stories for today. I really hope you enjoyed your video. I'm gonna try to make more TikTok videos throughout the week because obviously during the week I don't have a lot of time to like sit down and do a whole YouTube video, even though I enjoy doing these like so much. I can't, I have to work. Why do I have to adult? Anyway, let me know if you like this video. I'm sorry if anybody gets mad that I'm only making this video for the stories on Instagram, but maybe for the next video I can do like all TikTok stories or all YouTube stories. I'm pretty sure you guys just enjoy hearing the scary stories and don't really care where they come from. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and I love you so much. Bye.